Hello and welcome to a review of Birdie Wing. Now, we're on episode 6, and last week's episode was great. I mean, Eve is Eve, no question about it. And Eve's potential has on the rise with her new ability called the Rainbow Shot. Well, the Indigo Shot, Indigo Bullet. So now, red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, purple, and a Rainbow Shot? Yo, Eve is doing phenomenal work. And her run with the Mafia is over. Question mark. Because I just got this feeling it's going to come back. Bite her. But nevermore. Now we're focusing on Awie's episode. Now here's the thing. Like I said, I'm Team Eve. In this anime of Birdie Wing, I'm Team Eve all the way. Eve is, to me, the best athlete in female sports anime. She's one of the best. Aoi, I have never disrespected Aoi's skills. Never disrespected Aoi's skills. Never. Aoi is a phenomenal golf player. No question about it. And this episode was Aoi's episode because, like I said, last week was Eve's. Now this week is Aoi's. And Aoi's episode was more drama compared to Eve's. And in Aoi's case, Aoi has a lot on her shoulder. A lot on her mind. So without further ado, let's get right to it, the review of Birdie Wing episode 6 review. Okay, so after we get a little shots from Eve, by the way. Most of the shots were Eve. Like Eve's now back home. She's back home with her family. Her adopted family, and each now her personal caddy is with her. So she's training to be not only the best caddy, but also training Eve at her fullest so that when your World Cup's coming, she will be ready. And Eve's case, she wants to win on her own. Like, Eve's grandfather wanted her to represent it and give her all the attention she needs, but she don't want all of that. She has her own path, her own way, which I'm proud of Eve, by the way, for that decision. I'm proud of her that she got her own path, her own way of playing golf, and no one is not using her. Now, let's get to Aoi's case. Aoi, this was more of Aoi than it is Eve. 80 to 85% was Aoi's. The other percentage was just mostly on Eve, like she's practicing on that, but that's here and there. But let's just talk about Aoi, for example. For the love of God, the whole drama of mooriness, which is, who is the father? Like, for God's sake, we already know it's the coach. Coach Amuro is the father. Duh. And what's funny about this is that this is too much on her plate. I mean, she's up against Rika, who's former Athens prize queen, because now everyone's staring at Aoi because she's going to be next in line to represent Athena, sponsor and all that, at a young 15-year-old, okay? Because she's like 20, so like, okay, let's pass the torch to a young generational talent. Okay. Now, Aoi's caddy. I got to be honest with you, we didn't know nothing about her. Until we found out 5 years ago that she'd lost her father. And she was a personal caddy to Aoi's mom. So basically, being that she was poor at the time, 5 years ago, and her father died, she looked after Aoi. She looked after Aoi. And they helped her pay her tuitions and, pay for her money to make sure she has a life, to make sure she paid for her life. They paid her, that kind of thing. So I get that. And that she's related to Rika, who's the sponsor of Athens, by the way. And that's kind of like putting a lot of toll on Aoi because Aoi got new sets of golf clubs. Yeah, we got some funny moments of Aoi smelling the golf clubs and all. But again, this was more on the caddy side because she don't know. She's trying to make sure Aoi is safe, make sure she's having a regular life. She's making sure her golf skills are in the top. Aoi's mom, in the other way, gave gave her, like I said, a new set of golf clubs called the Shining Wings. Now, and when Aoi used her golf clubs, her body felt so light. She was able to swing 7 wood, 3 wood, 5 wood. She's able to swing them all. But Coach Aimu was the biggest impact in this episode. Because if you go back to his flashback, he made a promise. He made a promise to his friend, like, we'll play golf together. But because he died, the only thing we have left is their daughters. Yeah, he lost his friend. We can't play golf. But having two of the daughters, Eve and Aoi, play against each other would be great. But as soon as he collapsed, boom, collapsed. And Aoi doesn't want to leave the coach, behind. Because she still knows that's her father. She's like, I want to believe that's my father. She still want to believe it. That's why she's crying for real. She was crying because she knows that's her father. And then in the first day of the tournament, Eve has been... I keep saying Eve. In the first day of the tournament, Aoi keeps struggling and struggling. I mean, she was on 89th place. Everyone was surprised. Everyone was surprised. Like, this is not like her. Usually she'd be on top of the leaderboards, but she's on the bottom because Aoi is still not... Again, the pressure is on her because the fact that it's all this drama with who is the father. Like, who really is the father, really? And the mother, for the love of God, the owner of Athens, for the love of God, Aoi's mom, can you tell her the truth of their biological father? For God's sake. For the love of God, just say it, damn it. And it's because that she was struggling. Even her caddy was like, don't go. Don't come and see her, because if you go see her, you're gonna cause more friction and she ain't gonna focus. And now his mom was thinking, it's your fault. Yeah, it's your fucking fault. If you would have just left like the old, if you and the Coach Aimu would have left the countryside, just moved somewhere else and have a good happy golf lifestyle for Aoi, none of this would have happened. But it's your grandfather's fault, so blame that too on it. So again, Aoi has lost concentration. She lost focus on what truly is golf is. Like, she can't even play really well. Then the next day, the magic happened. You know, development like this comes a long way in Birdie. For an original anime like this, you gotta love even Aoi's development. No question. Aoi didn't know what to do in this tournament. Like, who she was fighting for. What's her real father? And it's just so much in her head that she can't even concentrate. But leave it to Coach Aimu to be there even when he's in a wheelchair. He's still there to watch Aoi perform. That's a good father. That's a good father. And the way she, the connection, the bond that those two have tells you that there's a father-daughter bond that will accelerate Aoi's potential. But again, going back to what I said before, again, Aoi's on a lot of pressure in this one because her mom is watching her, the caddy's watching her, her grandpa's watching her, the rival's watching her, even Rika's rival is watching her. They all watching Aoi. But again, that's too much on her. And then when Aoi came out, Coach Aimu came out just watching Aoi. She's happy that she's there. She's happy she could play golf the way how it is. And then I'm pretty sure Aoi's gonna get the answer after this tournament is done. And that triggered Aoi's special ability, the Shining Wings. And we got to see that shot going like beautiful. It was like a bird flying on a. It's like seeing a shiny bird flying, and that's when I'm symbolizing with the golf ball. But you guys get what I'm saying. Her shot was so shiny, and we find another, and then you call it a shining wings. We call it, her move is the shining shot. So now, after this development episode, I gotta say this was a great development episode for Aoi. Everything on the Coach Amu was the centerpiece that of the entire. Coach Amu was the center for Aoi's story in this episode. Given, you know, the golf clubs that he, remember, the coach made this new set of golf clubs for Aoi. And that's what stressed her, that's what stresses him out of that. He made new golf clubs for her. He watched her perform the shining shot, the shining wings, you know. He is there because he's the father. And after this win, next week the match is still going on. So next week will be the epicenter of this match that is gonna end in the rain. Remember, a golf match in the rain. You know, it's funny. Every time there's a sports anime in the rain, you feel that there's gonna be some tension and some drama that's gonna happen in this one. So when it comes, like I said, when it comes to sports animes in the rain, all hell is gonna break loose. Now, next week, not only are we gonna have that, but we're also gonna have Eve facing Aisha. Now, for those of you who don't know that dark-skinned girl, she's one of Leo's. Leo is training her next disciple. So we're gonna see Eve and Aisha play in a match. But like I said, this was a great episode because not only Aoi unlocks the shining shot. Moving forward, it's gonna be the biggest match ever. The rainbow shot versus the shining shot. Which shot is the best? I look forward to see that when they two meet, we're gonna see which shot is better. Rainbow shot or shining shot. We'll see how that goes. But again, for the love of God, can someone tell Aoi the truth? I mean, Eve got her story about her parents. For the love of God, can the drama of Aoi's story comes to an end next week? Can we get the ending of so that Aoi could feel better about herself and have the confidence that she can fight Eve once. So one day when they meet, we can see how this goes. Please. But again, this was a great episode, and Aoi unlocked a new ability, and the connection she has with the coach and all that, especially with the caddy. The caddy now finally sees what golf really is for Aoi, and that's what is important. What really important was Aoi's performance in golf and her love for golf, and that's what it is. So again, I look forward for next week's episode of Birdie Wing, and I'll see you there.